Joining us now on ICANN Media is the President and CEO of ENFORM, Cameron MacGillivray, and your company is the one that hosts this event. And tell us a little bit about what's going on here this week.
Well, you know, Rob, one of the interesting topics these days in the oil and gas industry is safety culture. A lot of the regulators are focused on it, and we are too. So a lot of the things that you'll see and hear are pieces and tools that are going in place to improve safety culture in the industry.
Well, and a lot of people are wondering too, because of the economic situation in the industry now, is safety at risk? Are people paying as close attention to it?
Well, there are a couple of different elements that go into play when there's a dramatic downturn in the industry. First of all, people get laid off, and usually the companies want to retain their best crews and their best, most competent people. So one of the benefits, if you like, of a downturn is with the better crews that work the rigs and the pipelines, and with the more competent staff, you actually can have an improvement in safety results. Okay. The downside is if you're losing people, and some of those people will not return to the industry, if they're good, competent people and they don't return, they could be replaced with new workers who are not familiar with the industry. So the concerns for the safety professionals and for the industry as a whole is, what do we do to prepare ourselves best when the workers come back in the upturn, which inevitably will happen.
One of the things about your conference is the fascinating speakers that you get as well, and how you're able to find people from different areas and make the connection. The first speaker at the conference was a fighter pilot. How do you find these people, and what is it that draws you to them, thinking that they would be a good speaker here?
Well, one of the great assets that we have is the PAC committee, which is a committee of industry representatives who help put this conference together. And through all of the resources of each of those individuals, we identify currently well-regarded speakers and experts in the area. So that gives us a great resource to tap, and we take full advantage of that.
How have you seen things change in the industry, I guess, since this conference has started, or even over the last few years? Have you noticed a shift?
I think what we have seen is a much more prominent role of the bringing together the notions of safety and operations, so that safety is not something separate from the operations of the company. It's part of how you do your operations. So it's not a safety guy that looks after your issues, it's safety in the minds of the individual workers when they do their work.
One of the speakers here, and again referring to the fighter pilot, he was saying how it's important for people to take leadership and take ownership of safety in their company. You obviously agree with that as well.
Yes, and you know, safety culture starts at the top of any organization, but we're trying to help organizational leaders to translate their belief in safety into actions they actually take. How can you make your belief in safety translate to the frontline worker, for example? What can you do when you visit the frontline worker? And by the way, you should be visiting your frontline workers. So we're trying to give senior leaders practical tools and advice on how they can translate their belief into actions.
Cameron, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ron.
We've been chatting with Cameron MacGillivray, the President and CEO of ENFORM.